All right, let's jump right in. Today we're digging into a decision that pretty much every executive has to face, choosing a cloud service provider. We're drawing from a guide by Virtualization Options LLC. They're a Colorado-based firm that specializes in advising leaders just like you. And we're going to show you why this decision isn't just about tech. It's really about the entire future of your business. So let's get into it.
So let me just ask you this, right off the bat. Is picking a cloud vendor just another job you hand off to your IT department? You know, it's a super common way to think about it, but honestly, it misses the bigger picture entirely. This decision goes way, way beyond the tech stack.
And that's because the stakes are incredibly high. I mean, think about it. If you make the right choice, you can seriously accelerate your growth and innovation. But get it wrong? You could be locked into a bad partnership, expose your business to all sorts of risks, and basically put a hard ceiling on your potential. It's a strategic move, plain and simple.
So how do you make the right call without getting totally lost in the technical jargon? We're going to break it down using a really simple but powerful framework based on 3 pillars. We're going to look at the bottom line, the foundation, and the future. This will give you the clarity you need to really lead the conversation.
Okay, let's dive into Pillar 1, the bottom line. Now, obviously, this is about money, but it's about so much more than just the price tag you see on the invoice. It's about understanding the true cost and, more importantly, the value you're actually getting.
So what's the first rule of thumb here? Simple. Always. And I mean always, compare at least 3 providers. And this isn't just about trying to find the cheapest option. No, it's about really understanding what the market looks like. And, this is key, giving yourself leverage when it's time to negotiate.
You'll quickly see that cloud pricing is not a one-size-fits-all deal. You've got these super flexible pay-as-you-go models, which are perfect if your business needs fluctuate. But if your usage is pretty steady and predictable, you can commit to what are called reserved instances and get some serious discounts. Your job as a leader is to guide your team on which of those trade-offs makes the most sense for the business.
And don't ever underestimate the power of a good strategy. Seriously, by negotiating smartly and using the right cost optimization tools, aiming to save around 10% on your cloud spend is a totally realistic goal. And that's real money that drops right back to your bottom line.
So it really all boils down to this fundamental trade-off. Are you going to prioritize maximum flexibility because your workload is all over the place, or are your needs stable enough that you can commit to a certain level of usage and unlock those major savings? This decision right here is a cornerstone of your whole cloud financial strategy.
All right, let's move on to pillar number 2, the foundation. So, we've talked about the money. Now we're going to talk about protecting your business. This is the absolute bedrock of your operations. We're talking security, compliance, and reliability.
I want you to think of these as your non-negotiables. You have to really dig in and scrutinize how a provider handles things like data encryption and access control. And you need to look very closely at what they guarantee in their service level agreement, their SLA. Because it's not just about the promises they make, it's about the plans they have for when things go wrong.
You're going to hear terms and acronyms thrown around, like SOC2. So what the heck is that? Well, just think of it as a trusted seal of approval. It's proof from an independent third party that the provider has the right systems and controls in place to keep your data safe. It's a huge sign of a mature, trustworthy company.
Now, you will absolutely see a promise that looks something like this. A provider will say, hey, we guarantee 99.99% uptime in our SLA. And that sounds amazing, right? It's practically perfect. But the most important question isn't about the 99.99.
It's about that tiny, tiny fraction of a percent when things actually go wrong. Because they will. Over a year, that 0.01% adds up to almost an hour of downtime. What happens to your business then? This is where having a real, tested disaster recovery plan becomes absolutely critical.
This is exactly what you need to be asking your team about. What is the provider's actual plan for business continuity? Have they really tested their disaster recovery strategies? And what is their recovery time objective? How fast exactly will you be back up and running? An uptime promise is pretty much meaningless without a tested downtime plan to back it up.
Okay, let's move on to our third and final pillar, the future. This is where we make a really important mental shift.
We stop thinking about a cloud provider as just a utility, like the power company, and we start thinking of them as a strategic partner who's going to help you grow and innovate for years to come.
Now, probably the single biggest risk to your future flexibility is something called vendor lock-in. It's what happens when a provider's technology is so unique to them that it becomes incredibly difficult or expensive, or both, to ever move your business to another service. It is a strategic trap you have to avoid at all costs.
I mean, just look at the stark choice you're facing here. On one side, you have portability, which gives you the freedom to move and control your own destiny. On the other side, you have lock-in, which ties you to one company and seriously limits your future options and your negotiating power. The choice is pretty clear.
And this is exactly why you, as a leader, should care about a provider's product roadmap. It's not just some boring list of features. It's a statement about their vision. Are they investing in the kinds of technologies that are going to matter for your industry, things like AI or machine learning? Their roadmap tells you if they're building for the same future that you are. Finally, let's talk about something called APIs. Now, I know it sounds technical, but I want you to think of them as strategic Lego blocks. An API is the magic that lets your sales software automatically talk to your inventory system. It's what allows you to innovate fast by plugging in new tools without having to build everything from scratch. A provider with strong API capabilities isn't just selling you storage. They're handing you a foundation for future agility.
So we've covered our 3 pillars: the bottom line, the foundation, and the future. Now, how do we pull this all together? How can you actually use this framework to lead the conversation with your team and make a decision you feel really confident about?
Well, it really comes down to asking the right high-level questions. And here are 3 that you can take directly into your next strategy meeting. For the bottom line, ask how this choice is going to optimize your total cost over the next 3 years. For the foundation, ask how that SLA truly guarantees your business continuity, not just server uptime. And for the future, ask how this provider is going to protect you from lock-in while actually helping you innovate.
And that really leaves us with one final crucial question that you have to ask yourself. Are you just buying a utility to keep the lights on, or are you investing in a true strategic partner that is going to actively help you grow your business? Because the answer to that question will define your company's agility and potential for years to come.